Hey, good morning, Bob. Trade Genius, 13th of April. I'm going to show you a couple charts here. One is this is lean hogs. And the reason why I'm showing it to you is that we've now moved up almost 70% in price since the um, basically since the end of February. And the Chinese are having a big problem with their uh, pigs in China with swine flu. And so I don't think this move has just begun. They lost 40% of their pig population, and you can never believe anything that comes out of China. Probably worse. And so what we're going to start seeing a lot of our pigs get exported out of this country and over to China, and it's going to raise the price. We're already seeing it. You just have to look at the price of bacon. That's usually the most sensitive to the price of pork in the U.S. And a pound of bacon where I live, it used to be $3.99. Now it's $6.99. And so I think we're going to get to a point where we're just not going to be able to eat bacon at all for a while. And I think we're going to rival this move right here. And this is going to kill the Chinese, figuratively and maybe even literally, because going into the grand solar minimum, we're also going to start seeing some stress here too. So this is the price of corn. They're going to have to use a lot of corn to fatten up these new pigs that they're trying to grow. And if you see here, if we bottomed in corn in 2016, and I'm looking for another spike like we had here in 2008. And this area here, when you see this spike in food and oil together, that's what killed the economy going into the great financial crisis. Okay, now home prices, yeah, but you got to the point where people couldn't afford oil and food, and then this spike here caused the Arab Spring. Okay, where they just could not afford to buy wheat because they were tied to the dollar, and at the time they were weakening the dollar. And so just keep an eye on this, and keep an eye on lean hogs. And then what we just bought is we just went ahead and we just bought DBA. I wanted to just get broad exposure. I have wheat, also WEAT, but they kind of can manipulate that a little bit more. And but DBA is coming up nicely. I think it's going to take another move higher now, and it's tied to livestock. And we lost over 1 million head of cattle in our storms in the Midwest. So we're getting a bit of a twofer. And I think once people realize how slow the growing season is going to be in the U.S. and Canada with the weather we had, and Europe is getting hammered again. Nobody's putting crops in the ground in the northern hemisphere right now. Okay, so only the southern tier of the United States is even in position for this, and I think we're going to see a big reflection of this. So I'm looking for a pretty big move here in DBA, and also in the grains, and then also in the hogs. So just watch that, because it's going to cause China a lot of grief. And I know the Chinese are desperate to reduce their currency against ours, but I think that with oil spiking and with food prices spiking, it could cause them some problems in terms of being able to afford it. And don't listen to anybody saying China's in great shape. China is a hot mess. They're basically a pressure cooker right now, and that lid can come off like a Krakatoa at any point. And so the biggest way the Chinese leadership lose their head over there, regime change, is when their people can't eat or can't afford to eat, and that's coming for them. I don't think there's any way out for them. And so it's going to be really interesting to watch, and it's going to have negative impact globally when it does blow up, because they'll wash deflation all the way through the economy, because they're just going to dump goods, to get hard currency to pay for food and energy. So just bear that in mind. So right now we're positioned in DBA. I'm going to talk about gold a little bit later this weekend, because I think they're trying to force gold down. and it's coming up to an inflection point. And I'll talk about where I think we're going to buy back some of our miners that we sold or were stopped out of in the last 2 weeks. All right, thanks for listening. Bob, Trade Genius. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.